2019 is the 14th year that the Show Me Shorts Film Festival has taken place. Well, firstly it was in Auckland, then it spread to Wellington and Christchurch, and now a version of it tours around New Zealand. As well as that, it's Oscar accredited, meaning that the winning films can qualify for the Academy Awards. It's an extraordinary idea to nurture and help New Zealand filmmakers really make it onto the world stage. And the powerhouse behind this whole idea is the dynamic Gina Dellabarca. Very warm kia ora to you. Lovely wahine. Amazing what you've done. And I should really bow because earlier this year you were made a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, is that right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And that's extraordinary. You're still very young, and that's for your services to filmmaking. What did you feel looking back on this 14-year journey? Because the first 10 years, I understand, you did all of this on a voluntary basis, Gina. What did you feel when you got that award?
Yeah, it was a real surprise. I kind of had a little bit of imposter syndrome when it first got announced, actually. There's always lots of amazing people doing such amazing things in this country. But I felt proud that someone in the arts and culture sector was getting acknowledged, and I was really flattered.
If you're an imposter, the rest of us have no hope, because what you've done here. When you began this in 2006, did you think it'll just be Auckland, it'll just be a little group of us who go, the ones who really love film, or did you have this bigger vision that it'll end up as it is?
Yeah, the festival's grown really organically, so we never had like a big vision for it. It was really just an experiment, and it's always an experiment. We're always trying new things and testing things out and seeing what audiences think of the kinds of films we present and the kinds of special events.
Give me an example of that. What's a little test that you're trying out this year?
So we're bringing over Peter Murdma from the Estonian Short Film Centre this year. He's going to be on our jury, but he's also going to be presenting a short film masterclass in distribution. So we're going to see if we can attract lots of filmmakers along that are interested in learning about distribution.
I love that. I saw Estonia was in there, and I thought, what a gloriously kind of obtuse country in a way to come in. But why not? It's a world art, the film.
Yeah.
You've also got a big Japanese focus in the main centres. We'll talk about that in a moment. But tell me what it involves. You must have to look at thousands of films from around the world.
Yeah. We received 2,040 entries this year from all over the world.
That's incredible. Is that because of the Oscar accreditation? Has it really put it on the world map?
We noticed a big increase in the entry numbers when we got the Oscar accreditation.
How did you pull that off?
We just put in an application. It was like, well, actually, no, the criteria was really strict for that. And so we tweaked the festival over 2 years to make sure that we met the criteria. Because if the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences reject you, you're not allowed to apply for another 5 years.
Wow.
So we really wanted to
So you were strategic. You really looked. What did you have to tweak? Did it have to represent all countries or many countries?
Yeah, there were things like the number of films that you were playing, and I think it had to be more than half were making their country premiere. So we had to make sure we had lots of new films, and we had to submit our winners from the last 5 years. So I wanted to make sure that those winners were all the kinds of films that could be potentially winners for the Oscars.
That's really smart Kiwi thinking. Gosh, we can punch above our weight. And on that note, this year there are 6 debut New Zealand films?
There's 8 New Zealand films making their world premiere in the festival.
That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
That must be so exciting. What does it give young New Zealand or New Zealand filmmakers of all ages? What does this platform offer?
So, as well as kind of providing a pathway to the Oscars for the winners, it's really difficult to get traction in New Zealand for your film and to find the momentum to get audiences to see it. And so, because Show Me Shorts is dedicated to short films, we provide all the publicity machine around the festival that gets people along to the screenings, and hopefully they provide access to interviews and opportunities to talk about their work. And just the feedback that you get from those live screenings with a full audience, you can't pay for that really, like that direct response, listening to what stuff people laugh at and whether they're gasping, that kind of thing.
So the actual audience feedback right in that loop.
Yeah.
And as well as that, do you often have these sort of little seminars afterwards where you're discussing with filmmakers what they've looked to do or giving filmmakers ideas?
Yeah, so we have these short film talks where we present films and we invite some of the filmmakers from the program to talk about how they made their work, and they get questions from the audience, and it's also really inspiring for anyone who wants to learn about filmmaking, whether they're a filmmaker or whether they're just an audience member who's really interested in finding out kind of the behind the scenes stories.
What's the feedback you get from filmmakers after all of this?
Oh, it's so great. We've had films in the program that have been made because they came to that short film talk the previous year and were so inspired that they were like, right, we're going to make something and we're going to enter the festival next year.
That is phenomenal. And that's one of the reasons, going right back to 2006, that you put this together. What was the genesis of it, Gina? Was it that you're a film buff, a film nerd, a film passionate
I
film?
definitely describe myself as a film nerd. I love films of all kinds. But at that time, I was managing the Academy Cinema in Lawn Street. And
under the library.
Yeah, and some friends and I were just talking about doing a project together, and we brainstormed all kinds of things we could do, some of them film related and some of them other kinds of arts and culture related. But whenever we mentioned a short film festival, like everyone was kind of like, oh, that sounds really cool, like I would help with that, like I think we could find sponsors for that. And so the idea was, there was kind of a hole in the market for that at the time.
So it literally was a group of Kiwi friends, effectively.
Yeah.
And now you've got these very high-profile ambassadors. I mean, at the beginning of the program, I see Jacinda Ardern that's fairly much going to the top in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Jacinda Ardern is endorsing it. Phil Goff's a big supporter. Who else have you got as ambassadors getting this?
So we've got Sir Richard Taylor from Weta Workshop. He's happy to lend his name. And there are a couple of people who've been involved with the festival from near the beginning, like Nick Ward, the screenwriter.
He's wonderful. I interviewed him. He's terrific.
He was a judge in our first year. Yeah. He came on board. And Francesca Rudkin, the film critic.
Yes.
She's presented as an MC for us a few times.
What about Taika Waititi? I'm sure he'd get behind this, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he was one of our judges in our first year, because we started the festival, I think it was the year after Two Cars One Night came out.
Nice.
So obviously he's a big short film fan himself.
And the boys from Flight of the Conchords, they might get behind you. There are some good people in Hollywood now.
Yeah, well,
I've got a suggestion or two. We'll talk off screen.
Those guys are all, anyone who's a film nerd, this festival is for them.
Fantastic. And what do they win? What's the is it a prize of money as well as this chance to go to the Oscars, or what does the winner get?
How it works is the festival launches with our opening night on the 5th of October, and that's where we give out all our awards and prizes. So that's not normal for a film festival. Normally that happens at the end, but I used to be a publicist and I always thought that was silly because you're finding out about all these films when you hear about the winners and then you can't see them anymore because the festival's over.
Yes, yeah.
So we do that with a big splash and it's like a really fun event. Everyone comes along and there's a red carpet and there's drinks and an after party, but the main thing is we play all the winning films and we give out awards for Best Director, Best Actor, Best Cinematographer, lots of things. And the winners of the top 2 awards, they're the ones that become Oscar qualifying.
That's beautiful. And do they get funding as well from you?
From various awards and prizes, they get a lot. There's a lot of cash prizes, and then there's things like equipment hire and memberships to industry guilds, that kind of thing.
God, it's so inspiring. Where do you see it ending up? Do you see it just getting bigger and bigger every year? Because I did read that you try purposefully to keep it small-ish, so you keep the quality up. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because some short film festivals around the world have hundreds of entries, don't they?
That's right.
What's your ethos there?
So We wanted to spread everywhere around New Zealand, and we're in about 25 locations this year. So
I love that.
we're
Even
everywhere.
Great Barrier, Stewart Island, Great Barrier Island.
Definitely.
Where else?
Like
a lot of the little towns.
Colville, Arrowtown. We're in like all kinds of small places.
That's brilliant. Look out for it in what? Their local papers. Look out for it.
Yeah.
Or give us the website now where people can look up.
showmeshorts.co.nz.
Good. So people can look up if it's in their little town.
Definitely.
Brilliant.
And if it's not and you want it, people should just ask for it, because the cinemas are really good at coming to us and saying, hey, we heard about the festival, can we have it next year?
What a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
So what happens? Yes.
So we've spread mostly around New Zealand. So, New Zealand's not that big, so there's not that much more for us to do there. But we don't want to grow until we have hundreds and hundreds of short films, because it's too hard for audiences to find which ones to see.
I agree. It gets overwhelming, and then you kind of... Yeah.
So that's the work that we do, is narrowing down the thousands of films to the best ones, and then putting them together in little packages with themes like love and other catastrophes and freaky futures. We have a documentary section this year called Doc Station. But where I see things expanding are we've started getting invited to curate packages of New Zealand short films for other festivals overseas, and we've started acting as a sales agent for the New Zealand films overseas for VOD channels and TV channels internationally.
I love that. I think there should be like a Netflix of just short films, just specialising in the quality films.
Yeah.
There's so many directions this discussion could go in, but let's focus in now on this year's highlights for you, just a couple that you felt really passionate about. I love the one where people are on their way to a wedding and something happens and then the whole thing kind of unravels when they start to question it.
Yeah, that one's
certainly
amazing.
felt that on the way to my wedding.
So I'm really keen on some of the documentaries in that section of the program. There's one called All Inclusive, set on a cruise ship, and it's just like observing the kind of beautiful banality of like these families of people. Like it's shot beautifully, so you see rows and rows of deck chairs with people kind of like splayed out, relaxing by the pool, and then you see a dance class of people doing like aerobics, all in a big row, and like just the kind of observation of human life in all its forms. There's another one called Acadiana, which is set in a crawfish festival near New Orleans, and
that would be interesting.
There's just all these people dressed up in crazy outfits covered in crawfish designs.
Wow.
And
Do you often
eating crawfish in a competition, all kinds of craziness.
Do you often get amazing music with these as well?
We do, and actually a couple of years ago we opened up to music videos from New Zealand. So there are a few music videos included, because we kind of decided that some of the best music videos are like short films.
They can be so artistic. That's a beautiful idea for people as well. Actually, who are the judges this year?
The judges this year, yes, we've got some great judges, including EJ Shimada from Japan, who's coming over from Sapporo International Short Film Festival, so that's really exciting, and Peter Murma from Estonia, so they're going to be on the judging panel.
So let's finish. I mean, there are so many other things I want to ask you, but it's just so rich talking to you, Gina. Let's finish with this Japanese focus in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. It's not happening around the country because you can't show everything everywhere yet. Probably will happen. But the Japanese focus here is being supported by the New Zealand Asia Foundation, the Japanese Embassy. What is it? What's happening there?
So we really wanted to kind of highlight films from one region, and there's nothing like seeing a whole collection of short films from one country all together to give you slices of life from different aspects. So we've got some documentary, we've got some drama, we've got a weird kind of beard fetish film.
There's a gorgeous one about goats too.
Yes, an animation. That one's amazing.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a sci-fi one as well. So you kind of get to see a bit of the spread of filmmaking talent in Japan. And if people are seeing a whole lot of New Zealand films as well, it's great to kind of compare what they're doing differently and what are the themes.
And it fits so beautifully with the Rugby World Cup is in Japan, the Olympics, the Paralympics. It's kind of a Japanese year. So the program is extraordinarily rich. People can go to the cinemas and get this and buy their tickets. I know in Auckland it's the Rialto, but give us the website again.
showmeshorts.co.nz.
I would recommend getting the program. And Gina, it's just been a delight talking to you. I can see you running this in Australia and then on to England and maybe America. I mean, the world is your oyster. You're very talented, Gina Dellabarca. Kia ora. Thank you.
Thank you.